Good day, everyone, and welcome to today's lecture on road network and lanes. In this lecture, we are going to be looking at what a road network is. We're going to be looking into the various divisions of a road network. We'll be looking at the intersection. We are also going to be looking at the lanes and what are the various criteria we take into consideration when setting up a lane in a road network. And every other and some other aspects we are also going to be looking at in this lecture. What is a road network? Now, a road network is said to be the collection of all roads in a specific area. So the interconnectivity between a set of roads in a specific area, which includes the highways, the motorways, and any other kind of roads, is what we call a road network. Here it is said to also be a system of interconnected roads, highways, streets, and paths that facilitate the movement of vehicles, pedestrians, and goods within a defined area, which can be a city, it can be a town, it can be a region, it can be a state, it can be a country. So as far as we have that system that connects all these roads, the highways, the bridges, the the secondary roads, the districts, the urban roads, the bridges, the feeders roads, all connected. The connectivity between all these roads is what we call a road network. So the idea of the road network also helps us to facilitate trade for tourism and access to essential services. And it can also stimulate urban growth and economic activities because this is one beautiful thing a road network helps us to achieve because it allows people to move goods and themselves from one place to another. So road network makes it possible for this to happen. Now, this is just a picture of what a road network is, and we can see the interconnectivity. We are going to be looking more into this in the later part of the lecture, and we can see some signs of intersections. We can see the on ramp and the off ramp, so we're going to be looking more into this aspect later in the lecture. And also, this is another picture gotten from Logic showing the road network. Here's a parking lot, here's a stop line for traffic signals. Here is a bus stop, an intersection point. This is a road. So we'll be looking more into this. Now we said a road network can be divided into, it can be divided into an intersection. It can be divided into what we call an urban roads. We have the rural roads. We also have what we call the motorway, the bicycle lane, the footpath and pedestrian area, the pedestrian crossing, bridges and tunnels. I said this earlier because all these divisions are what makes up a road network. So we know what we call the urban roads. They are actually in high volume of density when it comes to the traffic and the people on those roads compared to the rural roads. So we also have the motorways, the bicycle lanes, and others. So we're going to be looking into the aspect of intersection in full in the later part of this lecture. So this is just to tell us that these are some of what makes up a road network. We have the intersections and every other thing that we have in the slide. Now we're going to be looking at the types of road. So from what we have here, the first type of road we have here is what we call the highways. It is said to be a major road designed for high-speed traffic. This is designed for high-speed traffic, often connecting cities and regions. They typically have limited access points. That is, they always have limited access points due to the level of speed on this type of road. So there is a limit to the access point into this road. So this type of road is what we call highways. Then we also have the second one, which is called the arterial roads. Arterial roads, these are major roads that serve as primary routes for traffic within urban areas. And it helps to facilitate movement between neighborhoods and business districts. That is, it is just a road that helps lead to the highway. So it's more like the next division of road we have after highway. That is what we call the arterial roads. Also, so this is a picture here. The picture here is a picture of the highway, and the picture here is a picture of an arterial road. Then we have the next one, which is called the collectors. These roads helps to gather traffic from local streets and funnel it to arterial roads. So it is just a road that helps to move traffic or movement of people or vehicles from the local streets and channeling them into the arterial roads. We said it that the arterial roads channels into the highway, but the collectors gathers traffic from the local streets or the local roads and channeling them to the arterial roads. So they often have lower speed limits and access to local properties. So we won't get to see much local properties within the collector's road, just what we have in this picture here. This is an example of a collector. This is an example of a collector. Then the fourth one is what we call the local streets. These roads primarily intend for access to homes and businesses. They generally have lower traffic volumes and speed. So you won't get to see much speed within these roads. These are what we call the local streets. Just an example of what we have in this fourth picture here. So this is just the local street. So that means when there is a movement of traffic from the local street, it moves from the local streets to the collectors, and then from the collectors to the arterial roads, and from the arterial roads to the highway. We have the intersection. Intersections are critical components of a road network as they facilitate the crossing and merging of various roads, as what we can see here. And we have different types of intersections. Different types of intersections are designed based on the traffic volume, speed, the road characteristics, and surrounding areas. And we're going to be looking at some types of intersections. So these are some types of intersections we have in a road network. We have what we call the at-grade intersection. We have the grade separated intersections. We have T intersection, Y intersection, five ways and multi-way intersections, high-speed intersections, traffic circle, or roundabout. So we're going to be looking at the first one, which is the at-grade intersection. This is an example of at-grade intersection because these intersections are located at the same level as the connecting roads and are mostly common. This is one of the most common intersections we have in most states, cities, countries. So it is quite common. You'll get to see more of at-grade intersections than any other type of intersection because it's located at the same level as the connecting road and just something like this. So we also have different types of at-grade intersections. We have the signalized intersections, that is a type of at-grade intersection that makes use of signals. It is being controlled by traffic signals that manages the flows of vehicles and pedestrians, and they are quite common in urban areas, and it is used to handle heavy traffic volumes. Then we also have another type of at-grade intersection, which is called the unsignalized intersections. This is also controlled by stop signs or yield signs, not necessarily using traffic signals because of the lower traffic volume in these areas. The second type of intersection we're going to be looking at is what we call the grade separated intersections. From the picture here, it's just these intersections involve changes in elevations, allowing different traffic streams to cross without interference, often used to enhance safety and improve traffic flow. We can see there are different grades. From the picture here of those intersections, we have level of intersection below. We have another road network at the upper part of this road here. So which shows a separated grade form of intersection. And there is a level of elevation also, which allows movement of different streams across without any form of interference. So also under the grade separated intersections, we have what we call the overpasses, just like we have in this picture. This is what we call the overpass. We also have the underpass, that is the overpass, that is one road traveling above another. So the one traveling above is what we call the overpass, and the road that goes below is what we call the underpass. Then we have the interchange. It's just like a complex grade separated intersection which involves several ramps allowing traffic to turn from one highway to another without stopping. So that is what we call interchange. So all these are the three types of grade separated intersections we have. So under grade separated intersections, we have three types, like I said, the overpass, the underpass, and the interchange. The third type of intersection we have is what we call the T intersection. From the picture we have here, we can see that T form. See, this is a T shape, the T shape. So a T intersection occurs when one road meets another road at a right angle, typically forming a T shape, just like I said. These intersections can be either signalized or unsignalized depending on the traffic flow. So it's all dependent on the traffic flow in this area that will determine if it's going to be signalized or unsignalized. I explained that also earlier, talking about a signalized and unsignalized means when it is signalized, that means there's going to be the presence of a traffic light, and that comes with a high volume on the road. But if it is unsignalized, that means there's going to be the use of the yield signs, stop signs, and that also is dependent on the level of traffic volume on that particular road. So this is what we call a T intersection. The next one is the Y intersection. From what we have in this picture is also called the yield intersection. So which is quite similar to the T intersection. The Y intersection only occurs when two roads converge at an angle rather than a right angle. Looking at the previous one, there is at a right angle. This is a right angle of 90 degree. This is a right angle of 90 degree. And that is when we have the T intersection. But when it comes to the Y intersection, it occurs when two roads converge at an angle that is not right angle. They can present unique challenges in terms of visibility and traffic flow. That is one thing about the Y intersection. And there are different types of roads where we can see this Y intersection, and majorly this is what we call the Y intersection, the yield sign. So this sign helps road users to know that there is road leading in two directions ahead. So just to help them to know whether they're going in the right direction or the left direction. So this is what we call the Y intersection. And also the introduction of traffic signs or traffic signals dependent on the volume of traffic flow on that particular road. The next one is what we call the five-way and multi-way intersection. From this picture, we can see there are five ways. We have one, two, three, four, and five in multi-way intersections. That means it can be more than. This intersection involves three or more roads that can take various configurations, and this could lead to complex navigation challenges. So management of these intersections often relies on traffic signals or stop signs to regulate flow because there is no way we can all walk on this kind of intersection without the use of traffic signals or signs because of the complex nature of this intersection. The next type of intersection is what we call the high-speed intersection. From, from the definition of it, high speed. That is, these are typically found on highways and involves entrance and exit ramps, often with slight costs to accommodate higher speeds while maintaining safety. So that is the level of speed on this intersection or at this intersection is usually higher than any other forms of intersection that we have been talking about. So just to make the point again, high-speed intersections are intersections where the posted speed limit is 45 miles per hour or higher. And this can be very dangerous because drivers may not have enough time to stop or react to other vehicles. So this is one disadvantage about the high-speed intersection. The next type of intersection is what we call the traffic circle or the roundabout. Now, this is a picture of what it looks like, just something similar to what we're trying to see here. But the bottom line, there is a difference between a traffic circle and a roundabout. Because roundabouts are used on busier roads to allocate right of way between competing intersection movements. That is what the roundabouts are used for. But traffic circles are often used for visual appeal and have low capacities. It's said that they usually have low capacities compared to the traffic circles because traffic circles they are usually larger than roundabouts, typically with higher speed and may involve stop signs or traffic signals. Though historically they could be less safe than modern roundabouts, but when it comes to roundabouts, they favor lower speed and have yield signs at entries, enhancing safety and traffic flow within them. So that could help us to have a little bit of understanding between a traffic circle and a roundabout. So from what we have been able to look at so far under this traffic and under the intersection and the different types of intersections we have, you can see that each type of intersection serves specific purposes and is designed based on traffic patterns. They are designed based on the traffic pattern that is being deployed and based on safety consideration and the surrounding environment. Then proper design and management of these intersections usually play a vital role in transportation efficiency and safety within a road network. The next aspect we are going to be looking at now is the lane. So in a road network, lanes are designated strips or divisions of a roadway that allow for the orderly movement of vehicles, cyclists, and pedestrians. Each lane typically accommodates a single line of traffic moving in the same direction. So that is what a lane is all about. And just also what we have here in the slide, it says a lane in a network, in a road network, is a stretch of road that vehicles travel on. And lanes are usually separated by road markings and can accommodate a variety of vehicles. Talking about the road markings, we are going to be looking at that very soon. And in a road network, a lane is a part of a roadway that is designated to be used by a single line of vehicles to control and guide drivers to reduce traffic conflicts. And also, we can also say most of these lanes, we have different types of lanes. Some of them are for different purposes. There are some times where some lanes are meant for high occupancy vehicles, while there are some that are used for public transportation vehicles like the public transports, and there are some that are meant for vehicles, just normal road vehicles, and some are meant for pedestrians, some are meant for they also called a bicycle lane. So they have different types of lanes in a road network in which we're going to be looking into now. So first we're going to be looking at the different types of lanes. The first one we have is what we call the true lanes. These are designed for vehicles traveling straight through an intersection or along a segment of road without stopping. That is just what a true lane is. So there are lanes. You see them moving from a point of intersection on a road, moving to another point of the intersection on a straight line through an intersection. So I think that is quite easy to, yes, okay, this is good. This is an example of a true lane. This one, this arrow markings of this is an example of a true lane. This marking shows that the vehicles on this road can keep going in this lane. So when they keep going in this lane is what we call a true lane. So this is what we call a true lane. So the next type of lane we have is called the turn lanes. So the turn lanes can either be left turn lanes or right turn lanes. And these are dedicated lanes that allows vehicles to make left turns or right turns at intersections without disrupting the, the through traffic. Because in order for it not to disrupt the through traffic, there are some separate lanes for those vehicles that are that wants to move at the point of intersection in the right direction, and those that wants to move in the left direction. So these are what we call the turn lanes. So this is also a picture just from the other picture. This is what we call the turn lanes. These are the ones going in the left direction, while this in the right direction, and which does not disrupt, like I said, it does not disrupt the flow of vehicles moving in the through lane. So this can go this way. Then vehicles going in the left direction can move on this side of the road to this part of the road, and those in the right direction will be around here, moving at the point of intersection in this direction. The next type of lane is what we call the merge lanes, and these are used when entering or exiting the highway or road, allowing vehicles to accelerate or decelerate safely. So they are called the merge lanes, and in some cases we usually call them the ramps. We also have them in form of ramps. We have what we call the on ramps, and we have what we call the off ramps, and these are essential components of highway or freeway interchanges. So when we say an on ramp is a short stretch of highway that allows vehicles to enter a highway or freeway from a lower speed or local street. That is what we call an on ramp. So it's entering into the highway. Then we have what we call the off ramp. A off ramp is a roadway that allows vehicles to exit the highway or freeway and access local roads or destinations. So from the word itself, the on ramp coming into the highway, off ramp exiting the highway and having access to maybe the collector road or the local roads or to whatever destination they, they're going. So that is what we call the merge road. So it falls under the merge road. So the next one is the bicycle lane. So the bicycle lanes are designated lanes specifically for cyclists, often marked by painted lines and symbols. You'll see the lines and the symbols showing that this particular lane is for bicycles or cyclists. They may be separated from motor vehicle traffic for safety. There are some roads that are designed where the bicycle lane is separated from the road itself, while there are some where the road or the bicycle lane is just separated with maybe lines or markings. I have a picture of it here. So something like this. This is what we call a bicycle lane. And here we can see this is the vehicle lane. This is the bicycle lane. And basically, when we were talking about the merge lanes, you can see the on ramp. This is the on ramp, like on ramp coming to the highway from the merge. This is from the merge lanes coming to the highway. And assuming we have this also is also on ramp coming into the highway. So if it was going in the other direction this way, then we can say it is off ramp. But for what we have here, it is on ramp coming to the highway. So that is basically under the merge lanes. I forgot to show the pictures of that, but like I said, this is for the bicycle lane, and this is designated lane. Like it is marked or painted in a different color to show that it is for bicycles and not for vehicles or any other, for pedestrians. The next is what we call the shoulder lane. The shoulder lane, the shoulder lane, I can say it's an area next to a travel lane, and it is not intended for regular traffic, but it is usually used for emergencies or at a case when there is a vehicle breakdown or as a bicycle lane in some context. In some cases, it can be used as a bicycle lane, but usually a shoulder lane is usually used at a point of emergency or breakdown. When you're going on a road and you notice that there is a problem with your vehicle and you need to park on the roadside, the side of the road where you park your vehicle to check out what is wrong with the vehicle is what we call the shoulder lane. And this is a picture also of what we call the shoulder lane. So this part of the road is said to be the shoulder lane. This part of the road, you can see it is different from the actual road itself where vehicles are moving. And you can see it's a separate part of the road where you can, for emergencies or any form of breakdown on the road. So this is what we call the shoulder lane. Then we also have what we call the parking lane. The parking lane, these are areas designated for parking along the side of the road and which can sometimes overlap with travel lanes in a mixed-use environment. There are sometimes that it can overlap with travel lanes, but basically here it's just something similar to what I'm trying to say, which is a parking lane in a road network. So these are some of the types of the lanes. Like I've mentioned the through lanes, the turn lanes, which can be either to the left or to the right. We have the merge lanes. On the here we can have the on ramp or the off ramp. We have the bicycle lane, we have the shoulder lanes and the parking lanes. So the next part we're going to be looking at is what we call the lane markings. The lane markings. When we have some markings on the road or on some of the lanes, they have a meaning to them. They have a meaning to them. When it is a solid line, it means something. When we have it in a dashed line in this form, it also means something. Then when we have it in these arrow markings, it has a meaning to it. So we're going to be looking at the meanings of these three different lane markings. We have the solid line. This indicates that lane changes are not permitted. That is what it means. So vehicles moving along this lane cannot change their lane in this kind of road network or on this road. And that is why it is said when we have this solid line in the first picture here, vehicles cannot change the lane because it is not permitted. So the line marking means that vehicles cannot move along this lane. Yeah, when you're on one part of the lane, you stay on that part of the lane and you drive through. It is often used in a no passing zone when a certain part of the road is a non-passing zone. We get to use solid lanes. For the dash lanes, it indicates that lanes changes are allowed. Something here, it indicates that you can change lanes, typically used between through and turn lanes. When we're, let me go back to, when we're looking into this, when vehicles are coming on this particular road, you can see them changing lanes, maybe trying to move from the through lane to the turn lanes. But that will have been done before they get to the point of intersection, whether they are going in the right direction or they are going in the left direction. So so that is what we call dash lanes. Like I said, they indicate that lanes changes are allowed, typically used between the through and the turn lanes. Then the third one is what we call the arrow markings. From the arrow markings here, they provide guidance on the permitted movement from the lane when it comes to direction, whether you are going in the right direction or you are going in the left direction. Okay, this is also similar to the dash lane, but the difference between the dash lanes and the arrow lanes is that the arrow sign tells vehicles those who are going in the right direction has to be on this lane. For those going through have to stay in the middle, and those going on the left direction has to be on this other lane. So that is what the arrow markings helps us to identify. So the three markings, we have the solid lines here, the dashed lines, which we have in this picture. Then we have the arrow markings in this picture.